Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to our program Spiritual Fireside Chat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate, all thanks and praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the whole universe. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dear brothers and sisters, before we start with our theme of tonight, talk of tonight, I would like to recite from Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, and the verse number from 42 all the way to 46. And after my recitation, I will introduce our special guest for you. Let me put the verses on the screen so you can follow the meaning while I'm reciting. And then after the recitation, we'll continue, inshallah, with our guest. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله اصطفاك وطهرك واصطفاك على نساء العالمين. يا مريم اقنتي لربك واسجدي واركعي مع الراكعين. ذلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيه إليك وما كنت لديهم إذ يلقون أقلامهم أيهم يكفل مريم وما كنت لديهم إذ يختصمون إذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله يبشرك بكلمة منه اسمه المسيح عيسى بن مريم وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة ومن المقربين ويكلم الناس في المهد وكهلا ومن الصالحين. صدق الله العظيم. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate. The angel said, O Mary, Allah has chosen you and has purified you. He has chosen you over all the women of the world. O Mary, be devoted to your Lord and bow down and kneel with those who kneel. These are accounts from the unseen, which we reveal to you. You were not with them when they cast their lots as to which of them would take charge of Mary, nor were you with them as they quarreled. The angel said, O Mary, Allah gives you good news of a word from him. His name is the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, well esteemed in this world and the next, and one of the nearest. He will speak to the people from the crib and in adulthood, and will be one of the righteous. God Almighty has spoken the truth. Peace be upon all of you, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to our program. Welcome, Dr. Laila. How are you? Good to see you. I think you're on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Give me 1 second.
So, dear brothers and sisters, we have a special guest, and our topic tonight is Christmas. How to navigate the holiday as Muslims. I'm sure you will have a lot of questions about this topic, and I will, I really strongly encourage you to ask your questions to Dr. Laila at the end. You can post your questions, inshallah, on our chat box, and once she is done with her presentation, about 25 minutes presentation, and I will, inshallah, read your questions to Dr. Laila. Let me introduce our esteemed guest. Dr. Laila is the chairperson of Kinder USA and also assistant clinical professor of obstetrics and gynecology at USC. And also she is one of our commentators at our Ramadan programs. So please help me welcome Dr. Laila Al-Marayati.
I'm so sorry, Sheikh Asim, but I'm having issues with my computer, so I can't hear you, but I can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was trying to join by my phone, but I think it was causing too much feedback. So,
yeah. Are you okay now?
I will try again, just so that I can interact with you. Something is going on with my computer. So if Brother Mona can let me in, then I will
No problem.
phone and switch over real quick. Give me one moment.
Sure, no problem.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Sure.
Oh, he's not letting me join. Okay, well, I'm gonna just go ahead if that's okay. If you just
I think you're okay. I hear you clearly. Okay. You can hear me, right?
No.
Can you hear me? No?
Okay. I really want to try to join by phone. Give me 1 second.
We can hear you if you wish to continue. I don't know if you.
But she can hear us now. But I sent her like an instruction how to just rejoin. So I think she'll be fine if she rejoins.
Okay, thank you, Manam.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, do you mind if I just go ahead and start?
Yes, please. I mean, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, so I'm going to listen to you from Salam's phone, and then I'll go ahead and start talking.
Sure. Thank you. We can hear you clearly. I'm going to just mute myself.
Oh, he doesn't know how to mute it. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start. Brother Asim, all right, so thank you so much for asking me to join you. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. It seems like when I take my computer from home to work and back and forth again, my sound system gets all messed up. But I'm really happy to come and talk a little bit about this subject, especially because it's Christmas Eve. And this is a really important time, I think, for us in the United States as Muslims living in America. And so I just thought I would go through my thoughts. Hopefully I'll get the sound back and then we can have conversation afterwards, or if there's any comments, that's okay. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I always feel at this time of year when there's Christmas everywhere, that it is sort of an overwhelming reminder for us that we live in a non-Muslim majority country where the predominant faith is Christianity. Now, I know that is an obvious statement, but if you think about it, the way we live our lives, especially as the Muslim community has grown over the years, we can go about our daily lives, and depending on where we live and the community we live in, that we can sort of live in a Muslim-centric world without really feeling like there's any big difference going on with us in terms of our faith. And I know that there definitely is anti-Muslim sentiment out there that exists in some corners of the United States, but in general, I think we all agree that we are really blessed, right, to be able to freely practice our religion in a way that, you know, we are not forced to adopt another faith. We see the challenges our Muslim brothers and sisters are experiencing around the world, whether it's in India or China right now, where to be a Muslim minority is to really have your life being threatened in some ways. So we are very fortunate in that regard. And then this time of year comes around and it's sort of a stark reminder that, you know, we really are a minority, which is fine. Many of us, our parents, our families, or ourselves individually, chose to come to this country for other opportunities and raised us as Muslims. Many people converted to Islam, some families where they're the only Muslim in their family, but this is the time of year that we remember that. One thing that, you know, I've lived in the United States my whole life, but what I know from my Muslim friends from other countries is that when Eid comes along, it seems that everybody celebrates Eid. In Egypt, in Pakistan, whatever faith people are, Eid is a time of celebration for everyone. Gift giving, sharing food, gathering together. And so I think Christmas is kind of like that in the United States, where it's a national holiday. And it's an issue for us because there is the religious component to it, but I also want to talk about it in that sort of national tradition for us living in this country that we can partake in a way that is, you know, compatible with our faith. The secular part and the materialism part set aside, really this is a time of year that is characterized by warmth, compassion, a lot of charitable giving and donating and helping others, a strong sense of community, all of which are values that we cherish as Muslims. So many of us partake in interfaith gatherings, holiday celebrations with friends and coworkers, and some families like my own growing up are mixed faith families. So my mother was Christian until she became Muslim when we became adults. So Christmas was part of her tradition, and my father allowed that to happen. And in fact, he sort of looked at it as his way of kind of becoming part of the culture and tradition. And this is true for many, many families in our community. So it was just part of my own background, my own upbringing. For a lot of people, it really is not a religious holiday. It's a secular holiday in the sense that it represents other values that are positive. There's also that side of it that people look at on a more superficial level, whether it's the decorations, whether it's the gifts, whether it's Santa Claus. There's live theater that goes on. There are those Christmas carols that seem to never stop, that even if we don't want to learn them, we always do because we never stop hearing them. But those are the common themes that are shared by everybody. And then whether people go into that deeper level from a spiritual sense and religious sense really depends on the individuals. And that's what I think gives us a moment to stop and consider the deeper meaning of Christmas. As a Christian holiday, we all know that it is a celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, with the well-known biblical narrative. And there are lots of critiques of that. We could spend a lot of time talking about the doctrinal differences between Islam and Christianity and the role of Jesus in both religions and so forth. But I do think it's a time for us to just think about him and his central role and what he means to us. Not only Jesus himself, but his mother, Mary, peace on her as well. As you know, the Quran has a whole surah devoted to her story. And there's more detail about the birth of Jesus in the Quran than there is in the Bible. And I think that may have been due to discomfort with earlier renditions of the Bible in terms of some of the talking about childbirth at all, as if that was something vulgar about it. But it is, we do have that part of our faith that is really so unique and so special, so that this time of year reminds us of those things, and really gives us a chance to think about it in different ways. So Brother Asim already quoted the verses that I was going to go over as well, and I'll cover some others. But, you know, it's the way God describes, and this is in the Yusuf Ali translation. He said, "Behold, the angel said, O Mary, God gives you glad tidings of a word from him. His name will be Christ Jesus, the Son of Mary, held in honor in this world and the hereafter, and of the company of those nearest to Allah." So he already has a special role, even as a prophet. We know all of the prophets are looked at in similar ways, but there is a special role of Jesus who represents al-Kalam, the word. And then later on in chapter 19, after going through the detail of telling Mary she's about to give birth to this child and everything she goes through, when she takes him back to the town, they say to her, "O sister of Aaron, your father was not a man of evil, nor your mother a woman unchaste." In other words, criticizing her for showing up not married with a child. So how could she bring shame to her family? So she pointed to the baby, and they said, "Well, how can we talk to one who is a child in a cradle?" He said, Jesus, "I am indeed a servant of God. He has given me revelation and made me a prophet. And he has made me blessed wheresoever I be, and has enjoined on me prayer and charity as long as I live. He has made me kind to my mother and not overbearing or miserable. So peace is on me the day I was born, the day that I die, and the day that I shall be raised up to life again." So was Jesus, the Son of Mary. It is a statement of truth about which they vainly dispute. But I just want to point to sort of the beauty of these verses and how he describes himself. He starts by saying, "He has made me kind to my mother and not overbearing or miserable, and peace on me," which is the same language used to describe John the Baptist. So we have that sort of specialness of our own view of Jesus himself in a way that is really quite unique, even in the Quran, in terms of discussions of the other prophets, right? It's not something we read in the same way necessarily. And then finally, in chapter 43, it says, "When Jesus came with clear signs, he said, 'Now have I come to you with wisdom, and in order to make clear to you some of the points on which you dispute. Therefore, fear God and obey me. For God, he is my Lord and your Lord, so worship him. This is a straight way.'" So this is, again, a reminder of who Jesus was as a prophet, that he worshiped God and is calling people back to the straight path. So like I said, I feel that this is a really important time for us to read those verses, reflect on them. And when we're trying to communicate with our children or families about this time of year, we can often use the text to help us in that process, so that even our children can understand that we have something in common, and this is what Jesus means to us. Christmas is a religious holiday. It is about Jesus Christ, even if most people really don't celebrate it that way. But, to me personally, I feel like it's important to acknowledge that. So many times during this period, we're invited to participate, go to churches, to participate in interfaith gatherings. This is also the time of Hanukkah. And it's really a chance where we can share our love and respect for Jesus as a prophet with others, and we can connect this to a moment in a more spiritual sense. And for me, that's important, that spiritual aspect of it. When you strip away all of the other sort of bells and whistles and colors and lights, there is this essence of what Christmas is about, and how I think about Jesus when I think about this time of year. I will say that as a parent raising children, who went to a Muslim school, so I've tried to shield them that way. They didn't, have to feel bad about not participating in Christmas. It didn't matter. They still wanted to go visit Santa Claus. They still wanted to know if Santa was going to come to our house. part of me felt like, well, this is a good opportunity for me to teach them honesty, that I'm not going to tell them about a person that doesn't really exist. I was grateful that I didn't have to have that burden of like explaining something that was not real and then explaining to my children later on, you know, that whole way of navigating this notion of Santa Claus. But they still felt, I think, that sense of being left out of the celebration, of their kids getting presents on Christmas, and all of these things, they're attractive to children. And so, and we tried, I think for us, to just make our own traditions that much more fun and enjoyable. And of course, gifts were always involved, because that seemed to be when I would sort of query my nieces and nephews, what's the one thing you really wish you could do in Christmas? They just wanted presents. So that's how we we made our own traditions, some of it based, I think, on what is practiced in other countries, but we had to create our own traditions as Muslims in America, because this is who we are and where we're from. But spreading that joy and that fun, the fact that Eid comes at a different time every year made it hard to sort of compete with Christmas compared to, say, Hanukkah, but at least we did our best with the children. One other thing I just wanted to mention too is that as an adult in practicing medicine, every single year I work on Christmas, every year. And it's usually me and my Jewish colleagues that are on call at the hospital. And it's sort of become one of those things where we sort of, we know who's working those nights, because it's the Jews and the Muslims that take calls so their Christian colleagues can spend the time with their families. And that's a really nice sort of feeling that we are all, that we recognize that even though we may not be celebrating, we can do something to help others have an enjoyable time with their families. I still send cards to my Christian relatives and friends. And this time of year, I buy gifts for my team at work. It helps me remember to do that, to acknowledge them, to appreciate them. It's really a good opportunity. Giving, you know, gifts of food or sweets, or buying lunch at our office today, because we all had to work on Christmas Eve. So it didn't really matter to me as much, but I knew it was difficult for my you know, team, because they wanted to get home to their families. So we do what we can to help make it more enjoyable for everyone else. And then the last thing I just wanted to point out, that as much as this is a time of celebration and fellowship and community and coming together, it is also a time that can be very sad and lonely for a lot of people, especially if they have been separated from their loved ones, or they live alone. They may become more aware of what it is to be alone, because everyone else seems to be out having a good time and they're not. And so when you couple that with shorter days, less sun exposure, then, you know, you can see increased incidence of depression and things that go along with that. And I think that is all even accentuated so much more during this pandemic, where we're telling people, begging people, really, we are begging people, do not gather at this time. It's so against their nature. They really want to be together. You have grandparents wanting to see grandchildren, and we literally are begging people not to, because we can't handle what the situation is right now. And if things happen now like they did over Thanksgiving, 3 weeks from now, you know, you won't be able to get medical care. So that, all of that together makes this actually maybe a more difficult time in 2020 than at any other time that, you know, we've celebrated Christmas or the holidays. So I think, you know, we can do our part to acknowledge that as Muslims, to support our community in any way that we can, be involved in charitable acts, and, you know, donating whatever you can, helping. All of those things are consistent with our faith. We don't have to only do them at certain times of year, and can stay true to our own beliefs and values because of our own respect and love for Jesus alayhi salam. So I'm going to stop there. I know we have just a little bit of time. I'm going to try to join again by phone so I can hear you, but otherwise, if you want to just communicate in the chat, we can do it that way. Or
Right.
I just don't want to create any more feedback that will affect your.
Can you hear me now? I don't think you hear me. Do you? Can you? Okay.
Can't hear.
Looks like
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to mute myself on my,
oh, you can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you.
okay. I
Yeah,
can hear you now.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Laila, for this beautiful insight. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and bless your family. I know, I mean, like we have to not only thank you for this beautiful program, but also the work that you do. You know, you're a medical doctor, you're helping a lot of patients. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you for the hard work that you are doing. So I was looking for the chat box if there is any questions, but I don't see any question. Maybe, I don't know, I can ask if you have any beautiful memories from your childhood. You said that you are coming from an interfaith family, so that you like to share with us. That could be one of them. That this is just came to my mind. And the other thing is, you know, what would you like to say for our interfaith partners? You know, we have a lot of brothers and sisters that we communicate, and if you have any message for them, maybe you can share that. So these are my two,
Thank
not a
you.
question or kind of a question. So, please.
Well, when we were growing up, we used to have a, oh, wait, I thought it was on mute.
You're on mute. I'm sorry. On mute.
I'm going to unmute. We used to have a gathering at my parents' home. They would get a large tree, and my father, you know, was Palestinian Muslim, and we would have a Christmas event at my house, invite all of my cousins, and there would be at least 40 or 50 of them. And even though we know that our relatives didn't celebrate Christmas because they were not from a mixed household, it was a great time of love and celebration for the whole family. And so I think they still remind me of that all these years later, my cousins, when we get together. So it was just a mix, and it was a blessing that we were able to do that we didn't have anything else like it to be able to come together. And then for the interfaith community, I first and foremost just want to thank them for just being beside us and inclusive of us year after year. We get invited to their events at church and on Christmas, at other holidays, with all of the other faith communities. So, you know, I think it's just important for us to remind ourselves how fortunate we are to be here. And it has a lot to do with the value that others place on religious freedom in the United States, not just us as Muslims, that enables us to practice our faith freely. And so we really cherish these opportunities to be together. So that's what I would say to them. So
great. Thank you so much, Dr. Laila. There's no question, but there is a comment I would like to read to you. I don't know if you hear me, if you can hear me. Can you hear me? No? Okay, maybe we need the phone again. So, can you hear me now? Yeah. So this is not a question, but one of our listeners is saying that she says, not a question, but thank you so much, Dr. Laila, for your beautiful reflections. So I just wanted to share with you. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and bless your family. And my salams to brother Salam. I can see. All right. So we're going to pray Salatul Isha now. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon again, inshallah. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Dear brothers and sisters, now I'm going to call the adhan, and we will pray Salatul Isha, inshallah. Thank you. Thanks. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقام محمودا الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون وأنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت فيقول رب لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكن من الصالحين ولن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها والله خبير بما تعملون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. التحيات الله أكبر. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله. استغفر الله. استغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. صدق الله العظيم. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله الله الله. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم ابسط علينا من بركاتك ورحمتك وفضلك ورزقك. اللهم إنا نسألك النعيم المقيم الذي لا يحول ولا يزول. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك وطاعتك. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. O Allah, yours is the praise. O Allah, bestow on us from your blessings, mercy, grace, and provisions. O Allah, we ask you for the eternal delight that never ends or fades away. O Allah, make faith dear to us and beautified in our hearts, and make disbelief, sin, and disobedience disliked to us, and make us among the rightly guided. O Allah, we ask you for the guidance, taqwa, virtue, and sufficiency. O Allah, the controller of the hearts, please turn our hearts to your religion and your obedience. O Allah, show us the truth as true and inspire us to follow it, and show us falsehood as falsehood and inspire us to abstain from it. Allahumma shfi mardana, Allahumma shfi mardana, warham mautana, warham mautana. O Allah, please give quick healings for those who are sick. O Allah, please mercy upon the souls of those who passed away before us. Allahumma اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. وصل اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين صدق الله العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our prayers, our du'as, dear brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and bless your family. I would like to, inshallah, remind you that tomorrow is Friday and our khatib is going to be Dr. Yasser Hadhoud. Similar topic. Please join us around 12:50 with the Quranic recitation, and then the khutbah will start at 1 p.m. Join us, please. And also, I would like to remind you that this weekend, due to holiday weekend, we will have no Sunday program, inshallah, and also the following Sunday, that's another holiday weekend. But we will inform you with the following Sunday's program. So see you, inshallah, tomorrow at 12:50. Until then, have a great night, have a great rest, and see you, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.